Hello everyone, and today I like to do something different. In this video I will show and demonstrate some recorded chess games of the Turk, the first chess automation. The Turk was a fake chess playing machine constructed in the late 18th century from 1770 until its destruction by fire in 1854. The Turk played many games in Europe mostly. It was constructed to impress the Empress Maria Theresa of Austria. Because the Ottoman Turks fought many times with the Austrians and the Ottoman Empire were hostile to the Austrian Empire at that time, and the Ottoman Empire attempted to conquer Vienna, the capital city of Austria, 2 times, and in 1683 they were almost succeed, but Austrians managed to win the battle with the help of some European powers to relieve the city, so that's why they designed this chess-playing machine as a Turk, just for intimidate the machine's human opponent, and the machine was a very scary figure. He was sometimes shaking his head when his opponent made a bad move, and there are also lots of colorful stories about this Turk. And in this game, Napoleon Bonaparte has the white pieces, and yes, the Turk's first opponent is Napoleon Bonaparte, the French emperor and general, and everyone knows who is Napoleon Bonaparte, and this game has been played in 1809 during the Wagram campaign of Napoleon, and Napoleon Bonaparte starts the game with playing e4. The Turk played e5, and Napoleon played queen to f3. Developing the queen before developing the other pieces is a very bad idea. That was a very bad move by Napoleon. We have knight to c6, bishop to c4, and Napoleon Bonaparte is threatening checkmate, but the Turk played knight to f6, knight to e2, bishop to c5, a3, d6, and Napoleon Bonaparte castled. Bishop to g4, attacking the queen, queen to d3, and we have knight to h5, h3, and Napoleon Bonaparte is asking a question to the Turk. The Turk played bishop takes knight on e2, queen takes bishop on e2, knight to f4, attacking the queen, queen to e1, knight to d4, attacking on c2, and how to defend. Napoleon Bonaparte played bishop to b3, and this is the key moment of the game, and the Turk played a very strong move. Can you guess the next move of Turk? If I give you 3 seconds, can you guess the next move of black? The Turk played knight takes on h3. What a move. We have king to h2. Let's take it back. If pawn takes knight, then knight to f3, forking the queen and the king. It's over for white. King to h2, then queen to h4, and Napoleon Bonaparte played g3, attacking the queen. If pawn takes knight, we still have knight to f3, and after g3, the Turk played the obvious move, knight to f3, forking the queen and the king. King to g2, knight takes queen, rook takes knight, saving the queen. d3, bishop takes on f2, rook to h1, queen takes on g3, check, king to f1, bishop to d4, and the Turk is threatening checkmate, and how to defend. Napoleon Bonaparte played king to e2, then queen to g2, check, king to d1, and capturing the rook with check, king to d2, queen to g2, check, king to e1, and the Turk played knight to g1, threatening checkmate again. How to defend? Well, obviously, Napoleon Bonaparte needs to resign in this position, but they say he's kind of a guy who doesn't like to resign, and he's a very bad loser, so he doesn't like to lose. And Napoleon Bonaparte played knight to c3, trying to defend, but the Turk is getting rid of the knight. Bishop takes knight on c3 with check. Pawn takes bishop, and then queen to e2. The Turk destroyed the emperor. That's checkmate. And Napoleon Bonaparte, turn apart. And he has been destroyed. And what an entertaining, beautiful chess game by the Turk. So let's see the second game of the Turk. And this is the second game of the Turk in the database. And in this game, the Turk has the black pieces. And his opponent is a player named Hook. And Hook seems like a male's name. But in the database, it says Miss Hook. So most likely Hook was a lady. And Hook must be her surname. And this game has been played in 11 years after the game with Napoleon Bonaparte in 1809. So this game has been played in 1820 in London, England. And as you can see, the Turk surrendered his f-pawn. And ladies first. Miss Hook starts the game with playing e4. The Turk played e6, f4, c5, c3, knight to h6, h4, knight to c6, knight to f3, d5, e5, knight to f5, d4, c takes on d4, pawn takes pawn, queen to b6, the pressure is on d4 and how to defend. Miss Hook played g4, attacking the knight, but then knight f takes on d4, and the Turk is getting back the material. Bishop to d3, knight takes on f3, check. Queen takes knight, bishop to e7, b3, bishop to b4, check, knight to d2, and the Turk castled, a3, attacking the bishop. And it's black to move. The Turk played knight takes on e5, attacking the queen. And of course, if f takes on e5, then we have rook takes queen. So capturing the knight with the pawn is out of questions. Queen to e2, bishop takes knight, bishop takes bishop, knight takes on d3, queen takes on d3, bishop to d7, a4, bishop to c6, rook to f1, queen to d8, attacking the pawn, defending with the queen, queen to f6, and can you see the threat? The Turk is attacking the rook on a1, rook to d1, e5, f5, d4, g5, attacking the queen, queen to d6, h5, bishop to d7, and the pawn is pinned. And Miss Hook played a bad move. She played queen to f3, but the better move was queen to d3. And if e4, then queen to c4, check, king to h8, bishop to f4. And white is fighting back. Unfortunately for Miss Hook, she played queen to f3 and we have e4. And if queen takes on e4, queen to g3, check, rook to f2, rook a to e8. And this is all over for white. Queen takes rook, rook takes queen. We have queen to g4, queen to d5, g6, h6, bishop to b4, attacking the rook, but then rook takes on f5. Rook takes rook, bishop takes rook, attacking the queen. And white is falling apart. Queen to f4, a5, attacking the bishop, bishop to d6, d3. Miss Hook played d2 and the Turk played e3. And after this move, she had enough and she resigned. Because if queen takes on e3, then we have queen takes bishop, of course. This is all over for white. And if a move like rook to h2, then d2, check, king to e2, d pawn promoted to a queen, king takes on e3, queen to e1, rook to e2, queen to d3. That's checkmate. So that's why after e3, after the Turk, the chess automation, played e3, Miss Hook resigned. And another very beautiful chess game by the Turk. And let's see the Turk's third game in the database. And this is the third game of the Turk in the archives. And in this game, the Turk's opponent is John Cochrane. And this game has been played in London in 1820. And John Cochrane was a Scottish chess master and a lawyer. He served in the Royal Navy and he was a very strong chess player. He also played against La Bourdonnais. He beat everyone in United Kingdom except Howard Stanton, and he is known for his dashing playing style, sacrificing pieces, and always attacking, and he is known as a very aggressive player. So as you can see, the Turk's opponent this time was a very serious chess master, and in this game the Turk has the black pieces, and the Turk once again surrendered his f-pawn. John Cochrane, who has the white pieces, starts the game with playing e4, e6, d4, c6, f4, d5, e5, c5, knight to f3, knight to c6, c3, knight to h6, bishop to e2, queen to b6, queen to b3. And the Turk played queen to c7. John Cochrane castled. Bishop to e7, queen to c2, c takes on d4, c takes on d4, queen to b6, the pressure is on d4, defending with the rook, knight to f5, queen to d3, knight c takes on d4, knight takes knight, knight takes knight on d4, and John Cochrane played king to h1. Let's take it back. If bishop to e3, then knight takes on e2 with check. Queen takes knight, bishop to c5. And if let's say knight to c3, and that would be a huge blunder for white. We have knight takes on e2 with check. It's a double check with the queen and with the knight. King to h1 and knight takes knight on c3, and white can resign. So that's why John Cochrane played king to h1, knight takes on e2, queen takes knight, and also the Turk castled. Knight to c3, bishop to d7, bishop to e3 attacking the queen, bishop to c5, exchanging the bishops, queen to g4, rook to f7, and John Cochrane played a very impressive move. He played knight takes on d5, sacrificing the knight, temporary, e takes on d5, and then e6, forking the bishop and the rook. Bishop takes on e6, queen takes bishop on e6, pinning the rook, d4, rook a to c1 attacking the queen, and the Turk played queen to b4 and then rook to c7 attacking the rook. And also after capturing the rook, white has checkmate, so the Turk is defending with the rook. Rook takes on f7, rook takes rook, rook to c1, h6, and John Cochrane played rook to c7. Once again, double attacking the rook. The rook is pinned. So the Turk is defending the only defense, queen to f8. And can you find the winning move? John Cochrane played a killer move, and the machine resigned. The Turk resigned in 2 moves. Well, John Cochrane didn't capture the rook. He played rook to c8, of course. And that was a very easy problem. Pinning the queen, winning the queen, and the game. The Turk played queen takes rook, then queen takes queen with check. And after this move, the Turk resigned. And what a beautiful chess game by John Cochrane. So let's see the 4th game of the Turk in the database. And now we have reached the 4th game of the Turk in the archives. And in this game, the Turk's opponent is a player named Sturmer. And the Turk has the black pieces, and as you can see, the Turk is playing without his f-pawn once again. And this game has been played in the Turk Show in London, England, in 1820. So the player named Sturmer starts the game with playing e4, e6, d4, c6, bishop to e3, d5. And once again, the Turk is playing the French defense, e5, g6, bishop to e2, knight to h6, And Stürmer captures the knight with the bishop. Bishop takes bishop on h6, g3, queen to b6, b3, c5, d takes on c5, queen takes on c5, f4, knight to c6, knight to f3, and the Turk castled, c3, a5, knight to d4, bishop to d7, bishop to b5, rook a to c8, queen to d3, rook to f7, knight to e2, and it's black to move. And the Turk played a very strong move. And can you guess the next move of the Turk? The chess machine played knight takes on e5, sacrificing the knight, temporary, attacking the queen. So Stürmer captures the knight, but then bishop takes on b5, attacking the queen. So what now? And at this moment of the game, the Turk was shaking his head with mockery. The chess machine was moving slowly with some mechanical voices. And then he played the killer move. We have queen to c2, and the Turk played queen to f2, check, king to d1. And the Turk sacrificed his queen. Queen to f1, check, rook takes queen, rook takes rook. That's checkmate. Another very elegant and a very beautiful chess game by the chess automation. So let's see the fifth game of the Turk in the archives. And now, this is the fifth game of the Turk in the archives. And the Turk has the black pieces once again. And he is playing without his f-pawn. And before forget, the Turk was always playing without its f-pawn in the exhibitions. And he was always giving advantage to his opponents. The Turk was always playing as black with a disadvantaged position. And this shows how much the Turk was stronger than his opponents. And the Turk's opponent is a player named Strickland, who is playing with the white pieces. And Strickland starts the game with playing e4, g6, c3, e5, d4, bishop to g7. The Turk is playing the Robash defense, d5, d6, c4, knight to f6, knight to d2. The Turk castled, bishop to d3, knight to a6, a3, knight to h5, knight to e2, bishop to g4, pinning the knight. And Strickland castled, knight to f4, double attacking the knight. And Strickland played f3. h3 was the better move, but we have f3, and after knight takes bishop, Strickland captures the bishop on g4 with the pawn. Rook takes on f1, queen takes rook, c6, knight to f3, and it's black to move. And the Turk played a killer move. What is the move? Can you guess the next move of the Turk? The Turk played queen to b6, that's check, king to h1, knight to f2, it's check again, king to g1, and knight takes on g4, that's a discovered check, king to h1, knight to f2, king to g1, knight takes on e4, that's a discovered check once again. The Turk is torturing his opponent. King to h1, knight to f2, king to g1, knight to d3, check, king to h1, e4, attacking the knight, knight to g5. The Turk played rook to f8, attacking the queen, bishop to f4, blocking, and once again, knight to f2, check, king to g1, rook takes bishop, sacrificing the exchange. Knight takes rook, but then knight to h3. It's a discovered check once again. King to h1. Knight takes knight on g5. b4. Let's take it back. After this move, the Turk's opponent, Strickland, panicked. And he played b4. He blundered. So the Turk captures the rook. But let's say if rook to b1, then bishop to e5, knight to e6, knight takes knight. D takes on e6, queen to c7, queen to e1, queen to e7, queen takes on e4, knight to c5, queen to e2, knight takes on e6. Well, white has a rook, but black has a bishop and a knight against a rook. And also black has a one extra pawn. So black is winning. And at this moment of the game, Strickland panicked and he played b4, a very bad move. Bishop takes rook, queen takes bishop, queen to f2, attacking the knight, knight to e6, knight takes knight, pawn takes knight, knight to c7, e7, e3, queen to g1, exchanging the queens, d5, c takes on d5, c takes on d5, king to f1, king to f7, king to e2, and the Turk played d4, e-pawn promoted to a queen, king takes queen, a4, knight to d5, and after this move, the Turk's opponent, Strickland, had enough and he resigned. The possible continuation is g3, then knight to c3, king to d3, e2, king to d2, d3, h4, d5, b5, knight to e3, b6, a takes on b6, g4, knight to f1, king to e1, knight to h2, king to d2, and after knight to f3, e-pawn promoted to a queen, and this is all over for white, so that's why. After knight to d5, as you can see, it's all over for white. And a very beautiful chess game by the Turk. So let's check out the final game of the Turk in the archives. And finally, we have reached the final game of the Turk in the archives. And in this game, as you can see, the Turk is no longer playing without his f-pawn. And again, he is playing with the black pieces. And he is not giving any advantage to his opponent. And his opponent is a player named Mrs. F, a very mysterious player. We don't know her full name, but we know that Mrs. F was a lady, of course. So the Turk's opponent was a lady, and this game has been played in 1827 in Philadelphia, United States, in June 30. And the Turk's opponent, Mrs. F, who has the white pieces, starts the game with playing e4, e6, knight to c3, d5, French defense, queen to f3, knight to f6, bishop to d3, c5, b3, bishop to d6, and Mrs. F played e takes on d5, pawn takes pawn, knight takes on d5, knight takes knight, queen takes knight, and white is a pawn up. The Turk castled, bishop to b2, targeting on g7, knight to c6, a3, bishop to e6, attacking the queen, queen to e4, g6, and Mrs. F castled in the queen side, queen to d7, h3, bishop to f5, attacking the queen, queen to f3, bishop takes bishop, queen takes bishop, rook a to e8, knight to f3, a6, g4, b5, c4, b takes on c4, queen takes on c4, rook to b8, king to b1, queen to b7, and Mrs. F played queen to c3, threatening checkmate. And the Turk is defending with the knight, but that's a very bad move. So Mrs. F played a killer move. She played knight takes knight. It's that simple. And we have bishop to e5. Let's take it back. If pawn takes knight, then queen takes pawn with threatening checkmate and also attacking the bishop. And how to defend? If f6, queen takes bishop. So bishop to e5, queen takes on c5, bishop takes knight, queen takes bishop, and white is a piece up. Threatening checkmate, f6, queen to c4, check, king to g7, king to a2, defending on b3, rook f to c8, attacking the queen, queen to a4, holding on b3, infiltrating on the second rank, rook to c2, And Mrs. F played b4, queen to d5, check, queen to b3. Mrs. F wants to exchange the queens, which is very logical. Mrs. F is a piece up, so the Turk played queen to e4, rook h to e1, attacking the queen. Queen to c6, rook to c1, exchanging the rooks. Queen to d6, rook to d1, a5, b5, a4. Queen takes on a4, queen to d5, check, queen to b3. Queen to c5, d4, attacking the queen. And the Turk played queen to g5, a4, queen to f4, queen to g3, queen to e4, a very funny move by the Turk. Queen takes rook, queen to d5, check, king to e1. And after this move, the chess automation resigned. And what a beautiful chess game by Mrs. F. She just simply crushed the Turk. And this was the final game of the Turk in the archives. But of course, there are also many other chess games of the Turk in the history of chess. The chess automation played many games for about 85 years, and the machine operated by some different chess masters over time. And I hope you have enjoyed watching this video, and I hope to see you next time with some other historical chess games. And take care and bye-bye for now.